Hey everybody, welcome back to Boxcar's Garage. This is the Boxcar speaking. Today is going to be a new one for me. I'm going to do a kind of a quasi tool review. I'm going to talk about torque wrenches. I'm going to talk about what I recently purchased and why, and what I originally had to start out with that I didn't believe was going to be adequate to my my future needs. So stick with me and I'll show you what I got. So before we kick off and talk about my new purchase, let's talk about why I decided that I needed to buy this new torque wrench. I had been using these older school model torque wrenches. These have been around for a really long time. They are known as a beam type torque wrench. This particular one ranges from 20 to 150, and it's been, like I said, it's been around for a long time. This one was actually new. I don't know how old it is. I say new. It appeared to be unused. I had to remove some packaging material off of it. I'd picked it up at some yard sale for probably like $3. And I used this one because it did look so new, and I wanted to kind of make my control group as, you know, representative as I possibly could. I had this one too that I really kind of wanted to use. I believe it's much older. It's made by the Action Company. It's made in the USA. It's all aluminum. Again, a beam type. The problem with using this one, I thought, was that right out of my tool chest, it was showing that it was indicating 10 foot-pounds on the needle just at rest. So I kind of inspected it. I saw that it had an Allen. I believe this is nothing more than a set screw that holds on to this this indicator right here, the pointer. I backed off that Allen and was able to re-index it back to 0 and call that a calibration, if you wish. And I went ahead and I took it to like 125 pounds, just testing it, and it wouldn't return back to 0 once I did that. So I just kind of figured, well, you're not going to be able to set this, and it's archaic, and let's use another one. So I put it to the side, and I used this one in my test. So I did a brake job on my truck the other day, and I had to borrow a friend's torque wrench. He had the click adjusting type, you know, that you adjust the setting at the bottom. This one happened to be a snap-on that I used. It was a 1/2-inch drive, and it did the job fine. You know, there was no problems. I was happy to borrow it, have somebody that would loan it to me. But it's always nice to have your own stuff. So these are a little bit old. You know, this style's been out, you know, from the 60s or 70s, maybe even earlier. And while the 70s may not be very long ago, right, it's still relatively old. So whether I want to accept that or not, 70s has been a while back. So I borrowed my friend's, and I decided I wanted to have my own. So I started researching what type I want to have for my own, and that led me to some conversations about the split beam type. And I'm going to go over this as quickly as I can because this is my third attempt at this video, and it's running way long. So, split beam type, key features on the plus side is that you can set the setting and forget it and pack it away and not worry about it. The other types, you're supposed to take the stress off of it before you put it up. And if you don't, it's alleged that it creates some problems in the internals and it's less accurate the next time and the next time and the next time. So this is kind of a more user-friendly per se, because you don't have to dial it back down. So I thought that was a good feature. It doesn't have the battery, it doesn't have the lights, it doesn't have the LCD display that you might find with the Gucci models. Which is fine because I don't use this and I don't plan to use this every day, so I don't have to have a Gucci model because my use doesn't justify that. So this was going to work for me in all aspects of those considerations. It's alleged that Precision Industries manufactures the one split beam that Snap-on sells under model number TQFR250E. I'm going to highlight a couple of images and contrast it with some shots on this model that might go to support those claims. And why is that important? Why am I contrasting the two? It's pretty much just to highlight the money difference between the two. This one is $152 and the Snap-on one is $389 directly from Snap-on. So you can get a used item cheaper on eBay that ranges anywhere from extremely used to not used at all, and you could get into it a lot cheaper or somewhat cheaper. So you have that as an option as well if you're just determined to have a Snap-on product. But for me, because these were really close, and I thought they were made by the same manufacturer, that's my own personal belief, I thought, well, I could save some money, get a new one, and go with the Precision Instrument model versus a Snap-on, and that's what I've done. So I have yet to use this on a project other than doing some validation testing between this newer one and the older beam type. So some of the similarities that I'm going to highlight, one, overall design between the two is very close, and there's many, let's just call these landmark areas that are exactly the same between Snap-on and the Precision Instrument. Both of these are fittings that secure probably the internal mechanics, and they've got some sort of a goo over it to keep it from backing off or tamperage. The deflection that you get with both of these models, the Precision Instrument gives you 10 degrees, Snap-on allegedly gives you 15 degrees, which is a good feature on occasion. The hand grip, the plastics, very close to the same. Small differences in the different designs. The indicators are very close. I've got some comparable pictures to show you. Very close, small nuances between the two. The adjustment screw and this safety or dust cover or whatever you want to call it, identical. The cases are very close. Both of them, unfortunately, both of them have got a section of the case which is unused by the tool itself, and it just takes up more room in your box or wherever you're storing your piece of equipment. Both companies should solve that problem. It should be pretty easy. And there's some small differences in the head and the neck between the two. I believe that there's some sort of a tapering that occurs. Let me see, it's hard to work by. There we go. This one and the snap-on one got some minor differences in this area right here. I think they're more stylistic than anything. And of course, Snap-on puts their logo right on here. And Snap-on has their two set screws, or some sort of exterior showing screws on the back side of theirs, and whereas mine it's on the inside. So that is a key difference as well. Final key difference, and I'll move on to another item. When I pulled this out of the box, the first thing I noticed was this gap that exists between, let's just call this a neck, and let's call this the body. There's a 1/16 of an inch gap there that you can see through, and you can see some of the mechanicals, you know, that makes this do the magic that it does. And I thought it was a fit and finish issue. I mean, I think that that could be covered up in some way. I don't think it really lends to the appearance of workmanship or quality in any way. So anyway, I thought, well, either mine's jacked up or this is the way it is. So I went online, I saw some other people's tool, and it was the same way. So it's just the way it is. Now, Snap-on, I believe Snap-on realized the same thing. They created a plastic collar, let's call it. It's black. It goes over this particular area and it covers up that gap, and it dresses it up. Not only does it close the gap, but it keeps you from staring at these dimples and whatnot that have been pressed into the sides, holding everything together. That collar goes and covers all that up. It makes it look nicer. So it's a cosmetic detail that Snap-on went ahead and did. And that's some of where your money goes when you're dealing with Snap-on, is those little details. So I don't have to tell you that. You know there are reasons to go to Snap-on. So let's do a quick test between the two, and then some final words. So I'm set up again. I've got this set at 120 foot-pounds with this old one. So again, we're going to sneak up to it with the new torque wrench, and I'm going to set this at 115. Okay, no movement. $120. No movement. $125. No movement. $130. No movement. $135. No movement. $140. No movement. $145. We have movement. Okay, so 145, we've got movement. So that's 25, anywhere from 20 to 25 foot-pounds off between the two. So 20 to 25 foot-pounds off, old versus new. Is that important to you in your project? I don't know. But there's a test. Kind of thrown together test. It probably could have been much more controlled with much more specialized equipment that I don't have. So hopefully this worked for you. I enjoyed presenting it to you, and stay tuned for more.